G'day everyone, how you going? Welcome to episode 6 of the Second Rodeo podcast with myself, Symesy. Today I am joined by Tony Q. Brother, how are you?
Good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no, it's good to have you, dude. It's good to have you.
Been a while.
Yeah, I know, it's been a little while. How was the Warwick Rodeo last weekend?
Oh, man. Wet, but but hectic, man. It was sick. Yeah, it was just, I think everyone's been missing live music, and especially I've been able to play, support the Wolf Brothers, man. Like, that's always been a dream of mine. And, just to watch them play, see how the crowd reacted, and just to be out there doing it again, man, it pumped us back up from that bit of a hiatus we've had thanks to COVID.
Yeah, man, that's good. No, I had a ball out there. Anyone who came to see me at the Second Rodeo stall or came to say good day to Tony, thank you. We appreciate it. It was a bloody good weekend. Had a few quiet days there at the start with the stall. It was a bit bloody hot, and it was either boiling hot or it was raining and blowing a gale. So it was good to see a nice couple of days there on Friday and Saturday, where we could actually say good day to people and watch some live music. So it was good. Even though it did rain actually when you were playing, but it was fucking awesome.
Well, actually, we were pretty lucky on that. So when we got up and played, it was a bit drizzly. It didn't really rain. I reckon the second I hit the last chord on my guitar before the Wolfies jumped on, it pelted down. And then we played after them again. So, and we were watching. And I'm like, the second almost they finished playing, rain stopped.
Yeah.
So we hit the jackpot on that one. So
it was pretty cool. They did that. What do you call it? You're a muso. You know what it's called when you mash a few songs together.
Oh, the medley.
Yeah, the medley. They did like a bit of an Australian medley, and they played like Grey Southern Land and a few other songs like that. And while you could see lightning cracking across the sky in the background, it was like the most Australian thing I've seen in a long time. And I'm just down in beers, man. Like, it was good fun. Yeah, it was really cool, and it was good to see people just embrace some rain, get amongst 100%. It. You know what I mean? So
took me back to the old BNS days.
Oh yeah, that's where it's proper rowdy. Thinking back. So we've known each other a fair few years now. Where do you remember when we first met?
It's a bit blurry, as most of my days are back in those days.
I reckon you could pretty much tie it to Ringo's.
I was going to say it's either Ringo's, and I think actually we met through Alex Gale.
Oh, yeah, Gailey.
So Gailey and I used to play in a band together, and then I left that band to go do the country stuff. And then I think you got posted to 214, and I was at a different unit at the time, and Gailey told me about yourself and like Second Rodeo clothing and that, and I was like, oh yeah, sweet. And then I think the first time I ever met you was at your launch at Ringo's.
That's right. Yeah, because I sort of teed it up for you guys to be playing at the launch party, didn't I, at Ringo's?
Yeah, and then we did that on the Saturday night, and then on the Saturday, and then on the Sunday we did Ipswich Ringo's.
That's right, when that existed.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny actually. Like, I remember the launch party. I remember thinking it's going to be a big weekend. We're gonna crush it at Ringo's. And then basically we had to pack up at about 7 p.m. And then as we packed up, everyone started rolling through the door. So we didn't sell shit. But it was a learning experience. And then the next day at Ipswich was it was pretty much you guys and us. Yeah. There. So hey, at least we knew someone.
Hey, we all got to start somewhere, man. And I think we were starting out at the same time, man. So it was like we couldn't really offer you a crowd.
It's good fun though. It's been good to have you guys sort of along with us for the last sort of 4 years. That we're coming up on 4 years this December. 4 years, since Second Rodeo started. So that's
gone pretty quick.
It has.
Well, for me, it has.
It's bloody flown by, mate. It's really really flown by for me as well. So, but man. So as you were just saying, you've you were in the army. Yeah, that's where you had Gailey sort of tell you about me and that sort of thing. But talk us through, I guess, your sort of teenage years and then sort of moving in to the army.
Years, yeah,
and then what sort of made you join the army?
Oh man, wow. This is probably going to be like a tell-all interview. I haven't really discussed this stuff with many people.
Get amongst it.
Yeah, right. So I guess music for me has always been around. Mum was a piano teacher, and Dad was a truckie and that. And that's where I got my love for country music, was through Dad, and love for music through Mum, sort of thing. Started out, she played a lot of jazz and stuff. As I got older, the piano isn't for me, so I decided to pick up the guitar at the age of 12 and I lived in a town called Rutherglen, and it's like got a population of about, I don't know, maybe 1,000 people in the whole area. So yeah, they had a pretty good music program there. So I did guitar for about 4 years while I was year 7 to 10. I wanted to do it for VCE, or I don't know what they call it up here, like your Victorian Certificate of Education, like year 11, 12 sort of thing. Like
okay, I get you. Yep.
So I wanted to do that for year 12, 11 and 12. Didn't offer it at Rutherglen, so, Mum sacrificed and we ended up moving down to Melbourne so I could do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so, I sort of started off when I was playing guitar. I think the first song I ever learnt was Tomorrow by Silverchair.
Yeah, nice. So I think that's everyone's first song. Either that or bloody Smoke on the Water by Deep Purple or something.
So so started off, I was playing a lot of Silverchair and sort of Chili Peppers. Still love country music. Like, I'd play that stuff at school and I'd go home and listen to like Garth Brooks and all that stuff. But, you couldn't really play that at school when you're 14 years old. You sort of get picked on a bit.
So your cowboy hat.
Yeah. even in a small country town, man, you get picked on for that. But no, I ended up, went down to Melbourne, did music for year 11 and 12. Absolutely loved it. And then wanted to do music as like a teacher sort of thing. So do a Bachelor of Music and Education. Yep. But unfortunately back then, they didn't have a HECSTET for art courses.
True.
So it was 60 grand for the course. I'll never forget it. 60 grand for the course. And they wanted 60% up front. And like, we never really had much money. And
mate, who's got that much money coming out of year 12 too?
Oh, yeah. Even family wise, like, mum was a single mother at that time. And, so I went, you know what, I'm going to get a job and I'm going to save up and I'm going to go do it myself. So I ended up moving I moved back up to Albury Wodonga to work with my old man. He was working on the roads. Good money back then. There was a big bypass going through Albury Wodonga. So, jumped on that, worked on the night crew and that and the travelling crew. And sort of when you're 18, making a bit of coin, you don't really save much of it.
No, fuck that.
So that's sort of, so then after that, I was like, I sort of looked back and I was like, shit, what am I actually doing with all this money? And, I'm just pissing up against the wall. And, when you're young, there's women and partying to do. And I was like, excuse me, are you allowed to swear on this podcast?
Fuck yes.
I was like, you get a little E or something?
Yeah, no. I
was like, oh man, I need to fucking sort my life out, eh? So, I rang up the 1901 and
there you go.
Enlisted as cavalry.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Fuck, I didn't know that.
No.
There you go.
Yeah. So,
if you ain't Cav, you ain't.
That's right. So, enlisted as Cav. Went to Kapuka as Cav, and then at the last minute they said, half the reason for me joining the army was to get away from like Albury Wodonga, and there was some bad influences there, and so joined Cav. Halfway through Kapuka, they're like, "Oi, these are the critical trades we need. If anyone's keen to do it, do you want to do it?" And I'm like, "What's this one?" They're like, "Oh, it's electrician." I was like, "Oh, fuck yeah, I've always wanted to be a Sparky."
Yeah.
Sold me the dummy. Wasn't a Sparky. He was an electronics technician.
Yeah.
But the other dummy they sold me was I ended up going back to Albury Wodonga for 2 years.
Yeah, I was going to say, shit.
But then that's where it all kicked off. And then, still kept playing music sort of in the background, just doing pub gigs and did a lot of charity stuff down there for a few mates. And then when, I got posted to Brisbane on my apprenticeship and, kept playing guitar and whatnot. And then that sort of had to take a break because, as you know, with cavalry units, you go out field for 3 months of the year. Yeah, exactly. You're only home for maybe a couple of weeks here or there. So, that took a bit of a back seat. And then, was fortunate or unfortunate enough to deploy with 214. And then when I got back, that's when it all sort of kicked off.
Yeah, nice. And so you sort of mentioned deploying with 214. So tell us about that. You went to Afghanistan?
I did. Yeah. We're on MTF 5. So I was with A Squadron.
And so what year would that have been?
2012.
2012. All right.
Yep. So we deployed in 2012 from about mid-year till end of year sort of thing. It was it's sort of it's a thing that how do you explain? It's very hard to explain, man. It's like an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
So you're pumped to get there. It's all you enlist in the army to do that. So you're in country, and then bad shit happens, and then good stuff happens, and then real bad shit happens, and then I say, with our trip, like we lost the most lives in one day since Vietnam. So Milo and Potsy and Mardo and that. And, that when you get back, sort of, that was a turning point for me. Like I said, like when I got back, that's when everything sort of kicked off for me. Like, I always, it's a weird thing. Like, with PTSD especially, like it's a weird thing when you get back to Australia because you're on alert all the time, and you're like, all you want to do is get back home. After something shit like that happens, you're like, nah, just want to get home. So you get home, and then you get home and you don't feel at home. You're like, I remember Matty Rayner, good friend of mine. He'd been to Iraq and Afghanistan, and I'd met him when he got back from his trip from Afghanistan. Okay. He was struggling, and that's how we built a friendship. It was like I helped him with his stuff. And when I got back, I was so lucky that I had someone like him beside me. Like, he lived next door to me in the lines and that he's like, first day back, he's like, righto, mate, what do we need, like, to go get from the shops? Do we need to go get, bloody toothpaste and all that stuff? I'm like, yeah, actually, I do need to get something. And, come back from Afghanistan, I'm like, I need the newest television. I need a PlayStation 4.
All that good shit for a young lad.
Yeah. So, and it was funny, man. I remember as soon as, because Brookside's just down the road from Enoggera.
Yeah.
And I remember he drove. He's like, I'll drive, man. I'm like, oh, thanks, man. So we drove out, parked up, and we started walking into Brookside. And when I got into Brookside, I just froze. I didn't realise it because I'm like, it's because you're coming from a place where you're lucky to see 20 people in the one area, and then all of a sudden there's like 150, and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And it's sort of, it's a very surreal feeling, but I was so blessed that I had him with me. He saw exactly what was going on. He's like, right, back in the car.
Yeah, okay.
So, it's sort of had to ease yourself into it. But, it's, sorry, getting back to my point. Like, when I got back, the reason I say everything sort of changed for me was like, when the guys died and you don't get a chance to mourn.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally like, guys, this has happened. Look, get back to work. We still got a job. If you get complacent, more will die. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a very weird feeling. So when you get back, you don't have to worry about stuff. You don't have to worry about anything, and that's when everything compounds. And it's like,
I guess you've been sort of putting your emotions on hold
100%
for that period, and then you think you've gotten rid of them, and then you come back and it's sort of like, oh, there they are.
Yeah, 100%. That's why I fully understand why, like, a lot of people do struggle really, like, really, really bad with PTSD for the rest of their lives, because you don't get that chance. And when you do get that chance, you're back in Australia, you've got heaps of money because you've saved up, you had nothing to spend on over there, and then all of a sudden you can go stupid. And people do that. I did that, like, you know what I mean? But the turning point for me was music. Like, it's sort of, music was always there when I got back, and, like, we all had our bad days, but man, I was so lucky enough that I could just go lose myself in a song or write a song or, I could I had that expression, whereas a lot of people didn't. And sort of
like a creative outlet for
100%. And I think a lot of the guys from our trip and that, like, they'd come around to my room on bass just to listen. Like, they'd literally, man, I remember countless nights that we'd come home from work, the guys would bring beers around, they'd just sit there and listen to me record. I'm like, man, and I think that's where I was like, why am I playing pub rock songs and playing shit that people want to hear when I want to play country music and want to do what I want to do? I want to write my songs and I want to play my songs. And man, that's where the turning point came. I'm like, you know what? Excuse the language, everyone, but fuck everyone. I'm going to do what I want to do.
Do you?
Yeah, 100%, man. And that's what kick-started the Tony Q adventure.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, righto. And then so I remember you mentioning, like, a fair while back when, I don't know if you remember when we first did a podcast, like, I'm talking like not
Boots
the one.
On Country.
No, not even that. I'm talking like 180 with Symesy. Back in the day.
Man.
Back in the day. Yeah, back in the day.
Jesus.
That was
bringing up some
Yeah. That's a throwback and a half. But I remember sitting down with you. This is, so for everyone listening, the 180 with Symesy was a 180 for one episode only. And the Tony Q band were the first guys we sort of still getting to know each other then, but they were the first guys that I interviewed on that. But yeah, and it was basically like a 3 minute. The 180 was supposed to be 180 seconds. You know, it's like a 3 minute interview where you like put all the questions together, no breaks or nothing. And it was pretty funny. It was
Do you
pretty.
still have it?
I've still got it. Yeah, there was some good quality. Like I think we were all sweaty as fuck. Like the quality of the actual video and that sort of stuff was pretty cool. You know, we had it set up pretty nicely. But yeah, it was funny. But I think there we spoke about sort of where the name came from, and you said it came from like I think was it a few Marines and stuff working with you? And
yeah. So when we're in Afghan, I deployed with Langers, like he was my sergeant, and Langers and I had played guitar before we deployed and that together. And we're walking like from the workshop back through the mess, had dinner at the mess, and then walking back to the accommodation. There was an American dude playing guitar, Donnie Miller, and I was just infatuated with him because he just had this massive country American voice, like killer voice. So we sat there and watched, and he had to go do some work, but I had my guitar with me because we'd brought some cheap guitars over. And he goes, he sort of had this little stage sort of set up. It wasn't really a stage, it was a seat with a microphone. like you'd see in a cafe, I guess. But he saw the guitar underneath the chair, and he's like, "Oh, do you want to get up and do some songs while I have to go back to work for half an hour?" And I was like, "Oh, not really." I'm not after that, man. But I ended up doing it, and then we ended up becoming mates, and then we sort of built this band called the Thursday Night Experience because it was almost every Thursday we'd get together and play for everyone. Nice. And, there was like Dave Langley, myself, Ian Dale. There was a lot of, like, it was half Aussies and Americans.
Okay, yep.
And just a little plug on that. I believe pending border closures and stuff. We're meant to be doing a big 10-year reunion over in Hawaii next year for it. So I think we're going to be putting together another album and releasing an album.
That's wicked, man.
Yeah, it's like just sort of a joint venture sort of thing.
Yep.
Back to the story. Yeah, so there was obviously a lot of people that used to come just to get their bit of like a break away from what's happening around them. So they, these American people, they sort of, they're like, "What's your name?" I said, "Oh, Quincy." They're like, "Oh, Q, yeah, hell yeah." And like they sort of run with it. And then someone said my name was Anthony. They're like, "Oh, Tony Q. Yeah, Tony. Yeah, Tony Q up." And like it started off as like a rip-off of Susie Q, and then it just stuck.
Yeah, okay.
And then all of a sudden we just ran with it for the next like 4 months.
Yeah.
And then when I came back to Australia, I was like, I'll just keep it. Like I thought it sounded swanky.
Yeah.
It's a bit different, everyone's like, every artist out there was doing their first name, last name sort of stuff. And I'm like, Tony Q, mate. And they're like, the funny thing is, the most question I get asked is when people come up to me after a gig and they're like, "Oh, what's your name? How do we find you?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's Tony Q." Yeah. She's like, and a lot of people are like, "Oh yeah, so like CUE or QEE or QUEE," and I'm like, "No, just the letter."
Just the letter Q.
Just simple.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, the old banners help.
Yep.
No, that's cool because I mean, everyone. I think if you're in a country music artist in Brisbane, especially, you've probably heard of the Tony Q band. Like, let's be real. Like a lot of people like have probably seen you play at Ringo's or sort of like different rodeos or little festivals and that sort of stuff. So, I mean, I know a lot of people are definitely starting to see now, because of like groundwater and that sort of stuff. Not last year, but the last sort of couple of years before that, you guys were able to play there, which was good. And I think you're starting to build up that bit of a name in especially in Brisbane, So and then it's sort of moves out into the country, and I guess doing the Warwick Rodeo certainly would have helped. Yeah, because you've got it really is. All the cowboys and cowgirls come to that rodeo, don't they? Like, it was an experience being there a couple of weeks ago because, second rodeo. I haven't actually done a rodeo. All right, it's a figure of speech, goddammit. But I think it was really cool just to see all the cowboys and cowgirls out there and just having a good time and sort of working their asses off during the day in the rodeo.
It's crazy.
And it's hectic, man. And then I'll enjoy a beer at night time and watch some music and that sort of stuff. And they sort of come past my store and they're like, "Who's this fucking city dude with his his fucking streetwear,
city outfits?"
So city boy. But it was really cool to see the different demographics of people that came to the rodeo. You know, it was really country, and then Friday, Saturday, it was just like
loose
city people rolling through the door, sort of country people rolling through the door, and you could tell the difference between the both. But it was cool because everyone's just there getting along, having a great time, listening to the Tony Q band and the Wolf Brothers and the rest of them.
But that's true, man. Like, and I was talking to, can't remember who it was. I was talking to someone about the Warwick Rodeo, and they're like, "Oh, have you played here?" But it might have been Nick actually, or Tom. And they're like, "Have you played here before?" And I said, "Man, this is like our 4th year in a row." Yeah. They're like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man." I'm like, this is like the one that we circle on the calendar. We're like, have to be here. This is great. Yep. Like, and you're right.
That's our spot. Don't take our spot, sort of thing.
And you're right, man. Like, you look at like, as you said during the week, it's the biggest money prize pool for camp drafting and rodeo in Australia. So,
true.
I was actually teaching a lady because, during COVID, I had to teach guitar to make a living. So I was teaching a lady a guitar, and she was talking about, she said, sorry, I can't make lessons during this week. And I said, you're going away on holiday? And she goes, yeah, sort of. It's a working holiday. We're going to Warwick. And I said, Warwick Gold Cup. She's like, how do you know? And I'm like, because, we play there, and, my partner, Hannah, her family competes as well. And I'm like, have you done the Warwick Gold Cup before? And she's like, no. She came from Western Australia, and she was explaining to me how actually huge the Gold Cup is in Warwick.
Yeah, shit.
Like,
I'm all the way over there in Western Australia.
Yeah, because they read about it in the magazines, but they can't actually, like, the trip across to bring your horses and stuff is huge, man.
Oh, I can imagine.
So only like few people do it. So for her, it was like just achieving like a lifelong dream, man. It was awesome to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's but as you said, like during the week, everyone's there, everyone wants to win, everyone's competing. But then come the weekend, it's the finals, and if you're not in the finals, well, it's throw down.
yeah, that's it. No, it's a good time, and I hope we're both back there next year. So
I'll be back there even if I'm not playing, mate. I'll tell you.
Yeah. I'll go there again, and I'll bloody sell T-shirts in the parking lot down the road or something like that. We'll sort it out.
Little dodgy store.
Yeah, selling the Macca's car park. Give him a little percentage. Give him a little commish. So, leaving the army, you left pretty recently. Did you leave before COVID or during COVID?
So, it's a bit of a weird story. So, I put my discharge in to leave. I was meant to work until December 2000 and... Oh, here we go. What year are we in now? 21.
21.
Yeah, I was meant to leave meant to finish work December 2019 and then take my long service and then exit.
Okay, yeah.
Which would have led up to, would have brought me back at about the COVID stage.
Yeah,
but
right on point.
Yeah. But so what happened was because I put my discharge in early, I put it in a year early because I was like, I love planning. Like everything has to be planned in order. And so it got to the stage where they're like, we've like got your discharge. I'm like, well, I'm going to get all this medical stuff that's been happening to me sorted. So I'd been having back issues for 7 years, and not to say anything bad about the medical system in the military, but I'm sure you can. We've got to be polite here. But nothing was done about it, until I got a really good doctor at my last posting, and I said, look, doc, something's wrong. We've got to get onto the bottom of this. I'm leaving in a year's time. And he goes, yep, righto. Finally sent me for an MRI and came back that I had no discs in the lower of my back. And they're like, well, you can't discharge anymore. It's a medical discharge. I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah, which is not really what people want to, how they want to sort of finish their career, I guess.
Nah, man. But for me, after that, it was more like the options of like, okay, how do we get this better? And like, they offered me 3 options, and it came down to fusion. And I was like, nah, look, haven't really heard many good stories about fusions. They wanted to drill into my back and put like these 2 electrodes in there.
Okay.
You have like a pacemaker in your ass cheek.
Yeah, shit.
And it like sends a shock through your back.
Yeah.
And I was like, foreign bodies being drilled into me bone, not cool with that either. So, and then the last one was just pain manage it yourself. And I was like, fuck, righto.
Boxes of Panadol every day.
No. Yeah. Well, it's pretty much bloody osteo.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So that's why sometimes, like at gigs especially, if we're doing a long gig, like I'll try and put a an acoustic song in the middle so I can pull a seat out and have a sit down.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so, but yeah, no, it was, you're right. It's not the way you want to leave, but, you know, sometimes
it's the only
things
option.
aren't out of control, man. So
you can only control what you can control.
that's it, man. That's it. And, you know, I think everything happens for a reason and, you know, shit. We just roll with the punches and see what happens next.
Yeah, that's it, man. And I mean, these days, man, I think soldiers are starting to get smarter with their bodies, you know, because, you know, look at all the old school boys and good on them, you know, they did it tough for a lot of years and that sort of thing. But now, sort of guys are really trying to, you know, back in the day, even when I first got in, like I got in like 2011, so, you know, like long after you did, but it was sort of, you know, like even back then, you just go, you know.
Yeah, 100%.
Now it's sort of like dudes will come back and actually not just go straight hard on the piss sort of thing straight away. They're actually going to try and look after their bodies and maintain, you know, some level of performance where they're not getting injuries, you know, because of doing stupid shit or whatever.
Yeah.
And then if you do get injuries, like most guys are actually keen to look after themselves instead of sort of relying on I guess a defense doctor to look after you. And, you know, like I remember looking at a few of the lads that were training for like SF and that sort of thing, and you'd see them and they'd be stretching all the time and just a roller or a you know, those balls or whatever. Yep. And I just used to have no time for it. But, you know, for me, like I was like, oh, you know, I'll just stretch whatever. But now I'm like, man, that's clearly working for the dudes because, you know, I try and sort of roll muscles out and that sort of thing now, which it actually will prevent injuries, you know, and it's something that I'm pretty sort of used to be super slack with and getting better at it now, but it's so easy to pay off, eh? Like it really is easy just to pay off an injury and go like, I'm sure it'll get better, you know, and then it doesn't, you know, you've really got to try and manage it.
I think that's the double-edged sword there is like, there's no other job in the world, like in Australia, that is so demanding on the body than, you know, PT every morning, that's great. But you know, there's things, especially when you're outfield, Cav, you'd know, like, you know, there's just things that you can't avoid that I can guarantee you there's probably no other job in Australia that would put that strain on your body. And then you're right. The second point was too, that it's that mentality and that attitude of she'll be right. I'll take care of it later. Yeah. Like I've got work to do. Yeah. Me can look out. That'll be a later problem. And you combine those two together, man. And that's, you know, that's how you get ongoing injuries that start as a niggling injury and then all of a sudden become you know, crippling. Yeah. So
basically.
Yeah, man. It's a you know, a lot of people ask me like, you know, especially my last 2 years in Defence Force was, you know, I use the term jaded here. Like I got a bit jaded and it's funny, the new album coming out, you'll be able to hear how jaded I was. Like there's a few songs in that are pretty direct, but looking back, man, like it's funny about like the grass is greener sort of thing, but looking back, I look back now and I go, you know what? Yeah, I was pretty shitty at that stage, but I think that was just a combination of a lot of different things. But at the same time, it wasn't as bad as I remember it. It might have been at the time, but now I look back and I'm just like, you know, what was the last thing I said? You know, like when you leave, they're always like, oh, say a few words. I think the only thing I said, I was like, oh, right, I'll give you a few words. I'm pretty sure I said, you'll remember the good times and you'll laugh at the shit ones when you're out. And then the last bit of advice I gave was, if you can't spot the dickhead in the workshop, it's probably yourself.
I like that. That's so good because we all know that dickhead.
Yeah, there's always one.
No, I don't. Does that mean it's me? No,
it's probably me.
But that's you're definitely correct there, man. Because when I first got out, you know, I stayed reservist or whatever. But I struggled hard, man, because I was so jaded, and I put my discharge in when I was jaded. And I always give advice to dudes now. I'm like, hey, like to some of my friends who are, you can tell they're jaded. I'm like, just get like a bit of a clear head before you decide to, you know, to leave, because it's not, you know, sometimes the grass isn't always greener. But sometimes you do just need that break, you know what I mean? Yeah, so like you just 100%. Do need a bit of a break, separate yourself for a little while, and then, you know, you may sort of find you love it again, or you find something you really are passionate about and take that direction instead. But I think, as I said, dudes are getting smarter these days, which is good to see. And they're sort of, you know, there is life after the army and that sort of stuff, although I'm still doing quite a fair bit of army work these days, sort of thing. So
still in,
out. Yeah, sort of thing. So, but you know what? Like I'm yeah, I'm pretty content with how I'm going at the moment with the army and sort of second rodeo and all the rest of it. You know, it's one of those things where after stepping out for a little while, I had enough time to look at it and go, okay, well maybe it wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
I just need to slow down a little bit and sort of just plan things better.
Yeah.
You know, so I guess speaking about planning, so what did you learn from the army that you've been able to take away moving forward in life, and what's something that you reckon that you learned in the army that you will use probably for the rest of your life?
Man, there's so much. Like if you would have asked me this question a year ago, I would have told you absolutely nothing. It was a waste of time. But you know, on reflection, just so much, man. Like whether it be mateship or you know skills as in your confidence, stuff like that. You know, even all the way down to how we plan an album launch or how we plan an album or a single or a show or stuff like that. Like, you don't realise it at the time, especially you've done JLC, or was it Sub 1 when you did it?
Yeah, Sub 1, yeah.
Sub 1?
Yep.
Yeah. JLC back in my day, mate.
Yeah. Yeah.
No. So when you do JLC, you get taught, like, your process of planning, which is like... was it plan, action, review, and then it's like a big circle?
Yeah.
Man, I think I fell asleep during that PowerPoint display. But man, I did not realise how much it actually does work, and it actually means something when you put it towards something that you're passionate about.
Yeah. Oh man, massively. And you know, I think what's funny is you don't realise you're using it half the time when
100%.
when you're in that. You know, I've been listening to the Resilience Shield by Dan Pronk. Ben Pronk and Tim Curtis, all former SAS guys, and in that book they sort of talk about flow, and you know, say when you're in, so flow is like basically when you're in that flow state of you're so passionate about what you're doing, the time is just rolling by and you're not even noticing the time pass by, and that's what happens with me quite often with second rodeo. I'll go, holy shit, it's like 11:30 at night. I need to get to bed because I don't get enough sleep as it is. So, but you know. I'll look back on like the next day of what I sort of did last night or whatever, and there are a lot of those planning tools that you learn in the army that you've just utilised for something for, you know, say for myself, you know, the business, or for you, you know, music and that sort of thing. So yeah, I reckon you're right there when it comes to planning. It's one thing that I can't sort of live without. I sort of need 100%. To try and plan stuff and you know, so even if it's just a quick plan that's put together last minute, I still need to have that sort of a plan, and I still need to sort of have that methodical, approach to whatever I'm doing, sort of thing. So it's you're right there.
And it's funny what you're saying too about like the one thing that's come out that I've noticed between us talking here is passion. So going back to what we're saying about like how you said, you know, give some guys if they're getting jaded. Take a break. Like take a year off, not pay. Go get another job. Like fully agree with that. But you've always, if you don't enjoy something, why do it? And I think that's the main thing I say to a lot of my mates that are still in as well. I'm like, and as you said, they get jaded. Everyone does at one stage.
We've
or
all
another.
been there.
Yep, everyone does. One stage or another, you will. You might get past it. You might not. But that's the thing is, if you don't enjoy something, why are you doing it? If you're doing it to pay bills, you can do something you enjoy to pay bills. So my one big bit of advice to everyone that I know that always asks me about life on the other side is, if you don't enjoy it, take a break.
Yeah.
You know, hell, it happens with music. It probably happened with like second rodeo as well. Like,
it's happened already.
Yeah, and the same with us, man. Like, you know, it was getting to a stage where, and this is probably going to start talking about our crossover route at the moment as well, is like, it got to a stage just before COVID where it was like, man, we were sick of just playing these cover gigs. Cover gigs. And I think the year before COVID, we did, I'd have to check, but I think it was between like 48 and 58 gigs for the year.
Shit.
So that's like almost one a weekend. Actually, I think it might have been more because it ended up being like 1.2 gigs a weekend sort of thing.
Okay.
Now, for us, like for full-time musicians, that's not really that much. But for us, we were working full-time jobs, all of us. Like, you know, that was our... But it wasn't just gigs in Brisbane. It was travelling to, you know, New South Wales, top end of Queensland, stuff like that. And we'll get into that burnt-out phase where we're like, man, we just need to, like... It's working, but we just need a break.
Yeah.
And, man, COVID probably was that break we needed, because during COVID we reevaluated, like, we started taking that plan into consideration. And we reevaluated and went, like, we don't want to be a covers band. Like, that's not what we got into this for. Like, as I said earlier, like, I got into it to play my own songs. And, since we've come out of COVID, that's all we've done. Yeah, we've played covers as well, but we're playing, a good solid 45 minutes of our own stuff.
Yeah, it's good shit.
So, you're right. You just need a break sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, for me, like, as you say, you brought up, second round. And, I went through that same time. Like, last year, as soon as COVID hit, I was like, oh, man. And then all of a sudden there was full-time work with the Army again, and I took it because I thought, well, shit, we haven't got any festivals coming up, and that's where we make a lot of our money, is having these little sort of second rodeo stalls at the festivals. You're making sort of what you do in a month in one day sometimes, So it's they're really good, and they're really they're good fun and that sort of stuff. But I was getting to the point with the business too where I was getting pretty cooked, just from trying to sort of support the day-to-day bills and that sort of stuff, but then also sort of support second rodeo and then move forward and then sort of push it up to where it needs to be. So, I ended up going back into the Army, and then the first half of this year, I deployed for 6 months, and that was, when I got back, and that's all I needed. Just stepped away for a little while and kept the online store sort of ticking by. But I'll tell you what, the last 6 months, or the last sort of 4 or 5 months, has been fantastic. We've literally just become a company in America. We're Second Rodeo Incorporated over there now. So as of yesterday, or the day before that, and we're going to basically start selling direct to the US from the US. So it's really cool. And all I needed was that time just to sit down and look at what I was doing from afar and figure out what I was doing wrong and what I was doing right, and then sort of move forward with a different perspective. Well, not a different perspective, but just a new plan and a few new tasks to be able to, get me through to I guess executing that plan.
Yeah.
So
and and for you, a break probably did that for you as well. Like getting back from the Army.
Yeah.
And even before that, like, you were doing second rodeo and you took a break from the Army. So it would have given you that refresher to go, I'll get back in,
Yeah.
And plus, as you said, like, you had the bills to take care of. Plus, you got a young family, man. Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's a big responsibility.
Yeah. It's like, I need to put the old food in the mouth. You know what I mean? That sort of helps.
Keeps them happy.
So yeah, that's right. So, but I'm feeling good at the moment too, and I think after watching you guys last weekend, you guys are definitely sort of feeling good and moving forward with the new tracks that you've had on Spotify lately.
Yeah.
So are we looking at a new EP or album in the future?
Well, So the album was meant to be out. What's the date now? What month are we in?
November? We're in November.
So we're hoping for the first single of the album to be out next month, but it's been pushed back.
Yeah.
Those 3 tracks, and there's probably going to be a 4th one coming out. They're actually hangover tracks, as in holding us over until the album's coming out. So we wanted to hit the ground running. We'd already started recording the album when COVID kicked off, and that's the reason we couldn't get it finished last year. But the 3 new songs that we've released, like Walk Away, Hair Trigger, and One More, they were songs that we'd written literally after we'd already recorded the album.
Yeah.
We're like, shit, like, we want to get these onto the album, but the drums have already been recorded. Now, you can't have 2 different drums on there because it's like, it doesn't flow.
Yeah, true.
It's a weird thing, yeah. So we're like, you know what, let's just record these, release them as singles. We'll just surprise everyone, because we hadn't released a single in like a year and a half before that. We're like, let's just go bang, 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 bang. And as I said, we probably can't confirm, might have a 4th coming out.
Yeah, nice.
And then, hopefully the singles start coming out from that in January, February, March, and then April is when the album should be released with Sacrifice. So.
Yeah, nice. Well, let's just I'll see if this works. I'll just play a little bit of Hair Trigger. Let's see.
Hey, it does.
There we go. Where's the chorus at? Listen to this.
Bit of a different sound.
No, I don't hold regrets for the things I've done. Live my life like a loaded gun. Hair trigger, cocked and ready to stay to go. Well, I've been told I ain't for everyone. Walk the line, lived it on the run. Chasing ghosts down an open road.
Yeah, baby.
I think we
How good's that?
wrote that and recorded that in about 2 weeks. So it's funny hearing it every time. I haven't really listened to it. Like when you record a song or an album, you get sick of the song because you hear it over and over.
Yeah.
And man, that song, like I literally wrote it, or me and the boys wrote it. We're like in maybe a day.
Nice.
We're like,
yeah.
When do we record it? Rang up the guys we record with, and they're like, come in next weekend. So like, it's funny hearing that song especially because I haven't really heard it much.
Yeah, yeah.
And I hear it and I'm like, oh man, like maybe that's what we need to do. Is
just jump on it
and record straight away.
Yeah, do it. It's funny that you mentioned that. Listening to your songs because you hear them all the time, you think they're old. Oh, dude, that's what happens with me. So, something like our T-shirts that we brought out 3 months ago. Some people may have never even seen them before, and I'm looking at them going, "Oh, these are so old now. I need to get something new out." And I'm really always. Like I'm always creating and getting new designs done. And for me, I'm like, after 2 or 3 months, of the shirt being out, I've already seen that shirt for like the last 6 or 7 months sometimes.
100%, man.
I've been I've been sitting on that design for so long and then I put it out and I'm already like ready just to fucking, make something new. And, thank God people buy it. And then I sort of, I've already got for some, I've already got all of our designs. I've had them for about the last 5 months, so it's, it's you feel like it's been there for ages, but it hasn't. You've got to remember that other people haven't seen this yet, and you might still be another 12 months away from someone even seeing or hearing
100%.
Say your song or something. So while I'm on that, so if the people watching on YouTube, I'm wearing this new T-shirt. So this is the global tee. This is a sample of it. So it's going to be a little different. The colours are slightly different on the ones that are coming out early December. And the print's going to be down a little bit further. But, so this is the global tee. This is to celebrate expanding our wings. Is that how you say it? Expanding our wings? Yeah, pretty much. And sort of, going into the US and starting in a new market there as well. So that's why I created this tee. And I mean, America, Eagle.
I dig it, man. It's cool. When you answered the door, I was like, yeah, right. I dig that. Yeah. It's different.
Yeah, yeah.
It's almost like, I don't know if this is going to be offensive to you. It's almost got like that, is it Mambro or whatever, that old...
Oh, Mambo.
It's like a bit of a Mambo vibe to it. I dig it.
Yeah, it's sort of like, that sort of... And I think that sort of vibe is really sort of starting to take off in the States as well. But the guy that I used for my designs, he sort of came up with something very, very... This was pretty much his design. And then I said, can we tweak these things? And then we made it ours, So it was,
hell yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So, but global tee. I thought, is that a bit of a wanky? Is that a bit of a wanky name? But I was like, fuck it.
That was going to be our first tour name around the world.
The Global Eagle Tee is what it's called. The Global Eagle.
The Global TQ.
Yeah. Global TQ. Man, I reckon one day we'll both be in the States and we'll be fucking smashing down probably shitty beers, to be honest with you, because let's be real, most of their beers are pretty average. But
Sam Adams, yeah.
But the Buds and that sort of stuff, bloody, what is it, Bud Light and Bush Light. I guess it's pretty much just like us drinking 4X Gold, though. They, I think 4X Gold, God love them. But these days I'm drinking sort of like Revel Brewing Co.'s beers, and I've become a bit of
such a crafty now.
Man, I know I've become a bit of a beer snob. But the thing is, I don't really drink too many. I don't know. This type of bloke is like myself. This type of bloke that I'm being right now has probably been written about in the Batuta Advocate or some shit. But you know what I mean? Where it's like I've found a new beer and I'm like, oh, you should try this. But I actually drink 4X Golds half the time, and the rest of the time I drink these, sort of crafty lagers. But honestly, the Revel Brewing, man, those dudes just make some decent lager, eh? And
I think we need to have a talk about who you're selling this image to.
Yeah.
Because it sure as hell ain't the country people.
I mean, I didn't see any Revels out at Warwick, but
I don't think I saw any craft beer. That was shut down on the bridge before you got into town.
The old bloody Northerns were there, and but I was actually. I mean, I wasn't smashing golds in my tent at all, but outside of the venue, I may have been. Yeah. That's what happened. But I'm still
JD or something.
Oh yeah, I was by the end, but I went allowed to drink in our stores because that would be illegal sort of thing. Of course. Didn't do that. But it was it was that was a. Actually, I went to a bolo at Warwick and I saw like so much craft beer in the bottle, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, man, I didn't think I'd see any of this, but I still bought 4X Gold, so whatevs.
That was all the leftovers, man.
Yeah.
They sold out off all the VBs and that.
Yeah, that's it. Oh man,
man.
VBs.
Yeah, I think you need to reassess who you're selling.
What are you drinking these days?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh man, I've been stuck on Captain Morgan for a bit, so I think
Capitanos.
Yeah, Capitanos, bit of Bundy. Actually, I've changed a bit over the course. So I never used to drink beer. Now, because I've moved out to our small country town, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to involve myself in the community. Like, start teaching guitar out there. So I went down to the local pub and became a social member.
Yeah, nice.
So
nice.
now, like this
old boy.
Pub, yeah, an
good old boy.
I'm a good old boy now. And I'm like, we went down there one Sunday and they had live music on. And I was like, hell yeah, let's have a, And then I remembered how poor I am and how expensive it is to drink Bundaberg when you're out. So I've gone back to VB.
Yeah. You know what? I always put shit on VB because I'm a gold drinker, but a couple of years ago now, I think I might have been just sitting in a pool and my father-in-law tossed me a VB and I was like, mate, I'll throw it back to you. But no, he convinced me to drink it and I was into it.
Yeah.
On a hot summer day, I will
100%.
smash quite a few VBs.
Yep, 100%, man. Nothing
Love
better
it.
than like hard, honest, earned work, sweating it out. Like I remember I was up at our block of land and I was bloody doing whippersnipping. And then all of a sudden I was like, man, it's about 40-something degrees inside this flannelette shirt.
Yeah.
Good to go. And then I fully understood Billy Carrington, pretty good at drinking beer.
Oh, dude. Bloody oath. I'm actually a greenkeeper by trade. So not many people know that, but yeah, I'm a greenkeeper by trade. I worked on a golf course for like 4 years
You heard it here first.
before I joined the army. So, and I had a little lawn mowing business sort of thing. But man, I'll tell you what, like I used to love cracking a beer at the end of mowing a lawn. You know what I mean? Like every single lawn I knew, 9 o'clock in the morning, boom, crack a beer. 10 o'clock in the morning, boom, crack every. So by the end of the day, I've done 12 lawns. I've also had 12 beers. Nah, I can't back that up. But definitely, man. Like that's one job where whip snipping and lawn mowing. I think every dude's the same. You just crack a beer after it, and it's just like the best fucking feeling, eh?
It must be the grass clippings, man, that release this like pheromone or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I love it though. I love it.
Oh, it's true. Looking forward to one in a second when I get down to the Gold Coast.
I know, right? Fuck. Lucky days. And it's going to be perfect tomorrow, so for the groundwater people.
Is it?
By the time it's going to be a sunny day tomorrow, sort of thing. So you'll be happy days.
It's my day off too.
Yeah, nice.
Ooh, dangerous.
Nice. Yeah, that is dangerous. So I guess looking back on all the festivals and that sort of stuff you played, rodeos and that sort of thing, have you got a memory that's like in particularly stands out from one of your gigs?
Yeah. It's not a good one though.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. Good or bad?
Oh, you were at Warwick last year before?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, not good. It was, if anyone was at Warwick that year, they'd remember that it wasn't a great time. That's one that comes to mind. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's right. I do remember now, yeah. That's one that comes to mind sort of thing on a bad term, but on good, man, to be honest, like every single gig we play, it just gets better and better. Like I remember, our first gig back playing from when we were like this COVID break was Savannah in the Round up at
that looked like it was sick.
Mariba, yeah. Man, walking down to that stage after Casey Barnes had played, pretty intimidating. And shit.
Good performer.
But just so good to be back on stage. And, that was good for us because it was like, man, we're back at it. The crowd was feeling it. And then, you look at the next one, which was, down at Warwick with the Wolfies. And, as soon as we jumped on stage, I remember talking to the boys after it. And I was like, as soon as I was walking up the stairs, you could just hear people screaming. I'm like, I have not had that since, ages. And, it just keeps getting better and better. Yeah, as for memories that stand out, almost every gig, I'm one of those people that when we finish a gig, I'll dissect it and, evaluate and stuff like that. And I remember every gig, and I think they're all fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you guys are definitely a band. Whether you're playing covers or whether you're playing your originals, I definitely like watching you playing your originals. Especially last week and that sort of thing. But you're a band that people can go and drink to. Like to like really drink to sort of thing, and just because you guys are so I don't know, I feel like you bring this. I think especially too because this is like your home crowd. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The gigs that are around here. So like Warwick and that sort of thing, and so people know what they're going to get with you guys, and they're gonna get a band who brings like a shit ton of energy and just wants to get rowdy. You know what I mean? Like 100%. Wants to get rowdy, and then it basically, the crowd gets rowdy and makes you guys play better.
It does, man, and we feed off them, they feed off us, and you don't ever see someone go like an energetic show where the guy's mopey on stage, and I think, as I said with Warwick, like as soon as I put my first step on that platform and the crowd was just already electric, I'm like, we're on.
We're on here, yeah.
Like you can just tell straight away. But yeah, man, like it, and it's funny you say about the drinking crowd sort of thing. It's not just drinking.
The drinking class.
The drinking class, yeah.
As Lee Bryce would put it.
It's more just about good times, man. Like, we're up there because we want to have a good time. That's all we want to do is play music. Now, people are there to enjoy, to be entertained. Like, that's what music is. And if we entertain them, they enjoy it. And if they're enjoying it, we're enjoying it. And all of a sudden, it's this big, feedback loop.
Yeah. And I guess, so how important is live music for you?
Oh, man, it's everything.
Yeah.
Like, it's, what's water like for you?
Yeah. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Keep you alive? Yeah. No, live music, man, like, I absolutely love it. And whether it be playing it or just watching it, like, I hate crowds. Like, this is going back to what we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
I still hate crowds. And it's funny, one of the big questions I get asked is, like, how do you play big shows when you have, like, a phobia sort of thing of crowds? And I said, well, that's easy. When you're on stage, you got about 5 meters between you and the next person.
Yeah, true.
But if I'm going to go watch someone, I normally stand at the back or stand outside the crowd. But man, anything live music, I'm in. I'm all in for that.
Yeah. Nice, man. And so, I guess what are your goals? Not just for you, but for the other boys in the band and the Tony Q band in general. Like, what are your goals for the next sort of 12 to, or for the next 24 months? Like, what are you getting after?
Good question, man. And like, I should probably have a definitive answer for you, considering how much I like to plan shit. But at the moment, it's just let's just see how the ball rolls. Like, let's go with the punches. Like, we've come out of COVID, everyone sort of struggled through that. We started building a bit of momentum, and even now, like after this, I'm driving down to Groundwater and I'm playing a gig tonight. Like
nice, yeah.
It's sort of. We know where we want to go, which is becoming like that originals band. Like we're not playing Tamworth this year because we just felt like we were getting asked to do cover gigs. It wasn't us.
Yeah.
That's
good too, man. Because that's a solid decision from you guys to go. You know what? We're going to make some money there, but it's not what we want. You know, 100%. You're not selling out.
Yeah, and as I said, the COVID break was where we did the reevaluation, and we're like, no, this covers thing, it's done. Like. Yep. We don't want to be 70 years old rocking out to bloody whoever's the new up-and-comer, then their new song.
Yeah.
So, so for the plan for the next 24 months, man, is just keep writing music, releasing music, hopefully either get on a tour or make our own tour, and just, go with the flow, man. Like, we haven't actually sat down and structured anything out. We're just sort of like, let's see, let's see who gives us a call and says, "Oh, we want you to come play here." Let's just roll with the punches.
Yeah, I'm looking at you, Symesy Rocks. Get the boys
so
get the boys on the ticket. Put them on the main stage.
So
9 p.m. prime time.
Any Saturday night.
Yeah, move over, Darius Rucker and Luke Combs. Tony Q band's here.
Take a seat, Tom.
No, that's good. That's good to hear, man. That's good to hear. I think we'll everyone's going to keep their eye out for you and that sort of thing. Where can they find you?
Yeah, man. We've got our Facebook, which is just facebook.com/the Tony Q Band. Also got our website, which is thetonyqband.com. On Spotify, I don't actually know what the Spotify link is because it's all these numbers and stuff. Band. Is it?
Probably.
If you type in the Tony Q Band into Spotify, you'll find it. YouTube, the video clips are there. Like, anywhere. We're on Twitter. We're on Insta. We're on Snapchat. We're on everything.
Yeah.
So
nice.
Just reach out too. And like, if there's people listening that, you know, do want to get in touch with us and come see a gig, like, or if you do come see a gig, come say hello. Like, you know, the one thing I absolutely love about music is it connects people, and I've met so many great people just from playing music, you know, and that's, to me, it's not about money or fame or anything. It's just about being a good prick.
Yeah. I think you're going to say that.
Yeah.
No, that's good. That's good, man. Well, dude, thanks for coming on. It's good to see you. And I'll tell you what, it's good to see you in that. I know you've got like a lot of second radio tees. That's full old school now. So that's like the old cruiser tee. Well, I can't even remember what I called it. It was like 2.5 years ago or something now, but still going strong. I think so. Yeah, it was about 2.5 years ago, maybe. Probably 2 years ago, I'd say. Yeah. So no, it's good to see it still going strong. So
yeah, man. Yep. I've still got the original singlet.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny. I've still got my original stuff, and I don't really wear it too much, but it's still holds its quality. So, I mean, I'm not trying to plug Second Radio, but secondradio.com.au for Australia, secondradioclothing.com in America. But you know, it holds its quality, and so I've decided to hold on to them, because I thought, you know, one day I'm just gonna. I'll probably look back, you know, and go, look at where we started, sort of thing. So, yeah, that's pretty cool, you know.
I do the same thing with my guitar picks. So, I've always got custom guitar picks, like Tony Q-Man ones, and I've got one from each different design that I've made.
Nice.
And so, eventually, we're going to, like, I'm going to do up, like, a little board and just have them all in there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know, but yeah, hell yeah, man. But, as I said, like, if you want good quality, they are good quality. I still have, from what we were talking about, that launch.
That's seen some sweat, that singlet. Holy shit. I seen you on stage with that bad boy.
If you ain't sweating, you ain't. So from that launch, that original launch of Second Radio Clothing, I bought a T-shirt there. I don't know where that's gone, but I bought a T-shirt and a singlet, and I've still got the singlet, and I was wearing it yesterday.
Yeah, nice.
That's how long it's lasted.
Yeah.
Logo's still there, everything.
Yeah, no, that's dope.
That's
I like
4
I like
years.
that. Yeah, that's literally legit
and
4 years.
Hard 4 years of like gigs, Winton Way at West Festival.
It's seen some Australian country.
Oh, man.
All right. Well, thanks again for coming on, brother.
Nah, cheers, man.
Really appreciate it. And guys, go check out Tony Q at all those good places. Not on TikTok yet, but...
Oh, no, we are, actually.
They are on TikTok. Well, there you go. I was going to say, we'll get him on TikTok sort of thing, and next thing you know, Tony will be doing a little Bieber dance or some shit like that. So, but all right, guys, for now, thanks very much for joining us, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you.